Not many people work and expect zero income in return. Many servers in restaurants can be left dry whenever customers are unwilling to tip. Picture this: you've just worked 8 hours on your feet. You're physically and mentally exhausted. After serving 100 customers, you go to tally up your tips at the end of the night and you realize that you've made less than 10% of your total sales. That is devastating in the serving world. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are over 2.5 million servers in America. My mom, for 6 years, was a waitress throughout college and the beginning of her life. And so she began to tell me these stories of uncompassionate customers, rude customers. And I was just about to begin a new serving job at a restaurant, and I was unaware of the reality that I was about to face. Tipping in restaurants and other dining establishments should be mandatory. In this speech, I will present to you my argument of why tipping in restaurants should be mandatory and hopefully persuade you into being a more willing tipper. Now let's go deeper into what it means to be a waiter or waitress. According to collegegrad.com, a waiter or waitress takes orders and serves food and beverages to customers in dining establishments. Their roles are greeting customers, answering questions about the menu, taking orders, relaying orders to the kitchen staff, preparing drinks, transporting food, and removing dirty dishes from the tables. It doesn't require any formal education to become a server. Many places go through a training period at the beginning of employment to get them acclimated to that specific establishment. Some qualities of a good server are good communication skills. They have to be able to speak to the customers and also to speak to the kitchen staff to relay orders properly. The second would be good customer service. They have to establish that positive rapport with the customer in order to make sure that they get exactly what they want. A good server is kind and eager to help. Third would be detail-oriented. It's especially important when it comes to food allergies to make sure that orders are correct and precise going back to the kitchen. Fourth would be physical strength and stamina. Many servers have to carry the food and beverages, and they also have to be on their feet for many hours of the day, so it's important that they are able to keep up and able to keep going throughout. Now that you know what it takes to become a waitress or a waiter, let's discuss the financial reality for these servers. According to thegentlemanbox.com, the average American eats out 4.5 times a week. In 43 states, they do not require minimum wage. So that means in 7 states they do. So in those 43 states, servers can make low as $2.13 an hour. Without tips, that is a crippling amount, and that is not enough to survive in this economy. As a server myself, I became aware of this harsh reality. Some weeks I wouldn't have as good of tips, and so it was hard to buy groceries and gas and keep myself going and support myself financially. Not only do servers serve food, but they also clean up the areas that customers sit at, and they also prep food in the kitchen. Many people think that they're just limited to outside the kitchen, but no, many go in and help out the kitchen staff. Some servers don't receive your full tip that you give them. Some establishments and restaurants take the tips, pull them up, and then split them evenly among the staff. Some restaurants have to pay for credit card machines, so that alone can take up to 5% of your total tips just to pay for that machine. So if we look at this graph right here, this shows the average tipping among the states in America. So if we look in Alabama, we're close to the 16% mark, so we're pretty good at tipping. But if we look over here at California, Utah, even Idaho, they're closer to the 10% mark, so they're not as good at tipping. So now that we've discussed all that, let's go back to the beginning where the concept of tipping began. According to singleplatform.com, the origins of tipping can be traced at least as far back as the Roman Empire. Wealthy Americans brought tipping to the States from Europe in the 1850s to show their knowledge of European customs. There's a big potential to make a lot of money when it comes to serving, but it all depends on check size and the generosity of the customer. Research shows that the quality of service accounts for less than 2% of tip variation. This means that the server can give any quality of service and the tip amount would stay the same. So basically, they're factors that are not in the server's control. Young tippers tend to tip less regardless of the service. Overall, tipping should be mandatory and have a minimum of 20% to ensure that our servers are getting paid adequately. So let's review. A server from the Odyssey Online said nothing is more demeaning than being ordered around during a long shift and getting nothing for it. She gave us a little advice. A job well done deserves a 20% tip. If percents aren't your thing, look at the first number of your check and double it. So if your check is $40, take that forward, double it, which is 8, so tip $8. If your check was $45 and it doesn't split evenly, round up and leave $10. The need for servers is inevitable. Food is a necessity and they're the providers of that food. They're open on holidays, they work early mornings and late nights. It's the least that we can do to show our appreciation, to tip them well and support them financially. No one wants to work and not get paid for it. Thank you.